He's waiting to wrap up on you.
Hey, yo. Me and Sellers, you gonna.
Cheers.
What's up, everybody? My name is Ian, but you call me IsBe, and welcome to Be Viewed. Here I have
Caleb. Andrew.
and today we are going to be masturbating. Debating. We're going to be mass debating. We're going to be debating in the masses. Today, we're going to be ranking the first 10 classic Ben 10 aliens from 10 to 1. We are large Ben 10 fans.
He's loosely a Ben 10 fan.
What's Ben's first name?
Ben?
All right, you got it. Very good.
Ish.
Yeah, he was very hesitant about
He
it.
knows the nickname.
That's
What's his whole first name? Ben Tennyson.
his
Cancel.
whole first name.
His whole
His
first
whole
name.
first
His
name
whole
is
first
Ben
name
Tennyson. So here we go. So the way this is going to work, we're each going to go with our 10 alien, and then we'll work our way down. We're going to debate.
That was a horrible explanation. Basically, we're each going to go down our list one at a time, starting with our 10 alien, debate the 10th alien, then go down to the 9th alien, and so on and so forth.
Number 10 alien. The worst of the original 10 aliens.
Steve Fly.
There we go. I have 4 arms.
What?
What?
That's controversial as fuck.
That's controversial.
I have Ghostface.
Oh, wow. This is going to be fun. Okay, so I'm not against Sellers putting Stinkfly at 10. I don't think he has to explain that. I put 4 arms at 10 because Ben not only utilizes 4 arms so much to the point where it's kind of boring, but also 4 arms doesn't have any abilities other than being strong, and the majority of his aliens have strength-based powers. Even characters like to the extent that we see in the original series. For the record, we're just basing this off of original series feats. We're not basing it off of UAF or Omniverse or even the reboot.
Because if we did, the rankings would be a lot different.
Very different. But so when it comes to the original series, all 4 arms is a strong guy. Diamond,
He is durable.
he is,
He's really tough.
but I would say Diamond Head is strong as well. Maybe not as strong in terms of what we know later.
Raw power.
Yeah, in terms of what we see in the original series, everything that 4 arms does, Diamond Head can do. Now, why the fuck would you put Ghost Freak at 10 is what I
Oh,
want to
no,
know.
no. We're going to go over what Sellers has first.
So let's put Stinkfly. That's
My bad.
It's Stinkfly. Stinkfly is just not that good. Stinkfly doesn't do much that
Okay,
is good.
what, explain, elaborate. You're just saying he's not
He's
good.
only nimble because he's a fucking bug. That's it.
Okay, there are a lot of Ben's creatures that are just nimble.
Gray matter could beat Stinkfly.
If you give him prep time, sure.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I know he doesn't have any combat abilities, but the fact that he can take down
Here's
Stinkfly.
the thing. I
But
would
he
actually
he can take down any alien if you give him prep time.
for that I would actually argue. I would think if you put them in an arena, I think that Gray Matter would beat Stinkfly because I think Gray Matter would know more how to utilize Stinkfly's abilities against him. Kind of like a judo thing, like use your opponent's strength against them. I would say that if Gray Matter were to get on top of Stinkfly, Gray Matter would be able to run Stinkfly into
Yeah,
a wall.
if he gets on top of Stinkfly, it's GG's. But he still has to do it.
That is true. Okay. No, you explain fucking Ghost Freak though.
Yeah.
Oh no, I missed it.
Okay.
Oh.
I was about to fucking
I,
lose
I
my
was like,
mind.
what part of him is 10 spot?
So why Gray Matter?
Gray matter. The reason I have him so low is yes, he is smart as fuck. However, unless he has tools right in front of him or prep time, as you could say, yeah, people, he kind of like Batman.
Okay.
He's going to be losing in those scenarios. In fact, with the limited time you gave us to research this, I went through their win and loss records. He almost has the most losses in the entire group.
Okay. I don't disagree with that. I think the only thing is that I guess we both have our tens for a specific reason. You don't see gray matter being useful outside of prep time, and I don't see forearms being useful outside of strength, which I feel like
Well,
a
yeah,
lot of his
that's
powers are.
why for me, even though he's closer to the top, he's not at the top
Okay.
because what limits him from being like at the top, number one, is the fact that he's been beaten by more agile creatures,
Hmm.
such as well, I can't give that example, but when it comes to like strength wise, yes, you could say out of the 10 classic ones, out of pure strength, forearms is top.
Hmm.
But when it comes to how he can apply said strength, it's really just the
Punch somebody.
four punches, maybe a clap, thunder
Yeah.
clap, or a fucking thunder blast, whatever
Yeah.
that's shit's called. So I mean, yeah, he is good, but I won't give him a top spot for that reason.
Yeah.
He does get limited by that.
All right. Fair enough. All right. Moving on to number 9. All right, Anna, you go first. Who's number 9 for you?
I just think Flower number nine.
I also have Stink Flat number 9.
Gray matter.
Oh, okay. So we're all not that far off in this
Yeah,
beginning.
it's just I feel like gray matter would beat Stinkfly.
He can beat almost any alien given the prep
No,
time.
like even he made a fair point. Like if he was just to use some because he's agile.
And
He's not
because
super agile, but I'm sure it's not impossible
He
for him
is
to get
actually
on
super
Stinkfly.
agile. He's based off of a frog.
okay, Caleb disappeared. When I think of Gray Matter's biggest feat, I think of the Tetrax episode where or the other Diamond Head shows up. I think that in that specific episode, the entire concept is that Ben utilizes his strength so often, but he never utilizes any of the other abilities. And so I think that when it comes to that, I mean, the whole, moral of the episode is that he turns into gray matter, which defeats 6-6 and the crack guy whose name I forgot.
He just said, "Let me. What does this do?" Rip some cords out of him. They're like, "Oh, Spyros, hits a fucking watermill, and then it falls and."
I don't disagree with that, but I think that there was some planning with that. But so no, okay, so we all agree Stinkfly's trash.
Yes.
I wouldn't say he's trash. Just
He's
the
useful in very specific
least
scenarios.
Okay,
useful one of the least useful,
okay, but we did. So we both had it at 9.
because he does have some interesting strength feats.
So for me, number 8, I have gray matter.
Interesting.
Ripjaw.
Yeah, I believe those.
You guys aren't gonna like where I have Ripjaw.
Bro. He's only useful.
You have him in the top three.
I don't have him in the top 3.
All right, then I'm cool with it.
He's only useful in water
I
situations.
know, but he should be utilized more often. I love Ripjaws personally. He's literally one of my favorite aliens, and he doesn't get used almost ever.
His
Yes,
weakness
but
is he can't breathe out
and
of
then
water.
in Ben's defense, what Sellers just said, he has like a 10-minute window
I know.
from when he needs a water source, and if he doesn't, Ben is on the ground.
I know, and it sucks. Here's why, right? Truth matters. I think Ripjaws is the best designed character
Yeah.
in the original series. First of all, he looks like an anglerfish but like combined with a shark, which is just super
Yeah.
cool. I think because he looks so cool, I've always had a soft spot for him. And anytime he does get used, I'm like, awesome. But then he disappears for 24 episodes.
Yeah.
In the original series, he only appears like maybe 6 times.
Yeah, roughly about
Like
that.
he doesn't appear like
Well,
almost
it's usually he appears in water-based episodes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's usually not that many water.
because like he's utilized in the Kraken episode.
which was on a lake.
He was utilized in the beginning of one of the
And a beer.
clown
It was
episodes in
on
the pier. In the
It was
pier.
at the pier.
Yeah. The other one that I can think of is he was used in the opening of season 2 because Phil goes to capture him.
Yeah.
And
Well, no,
then
he goes to capture a different alien.
yeah, but then he sees
Ben and
Ben,
Phil.
and then
Yeah.
and then the other one that I can think of where he's utilized
There was a water fountain there.
was it? Oh yeah. Because no, I remember he takes the fire hose and he's like, water.
As the fire gets freaked out.
Then he's obviously utilized in the season finale of 1 because he turns into every
Yeah.
alien. And then the big one that I always liked, which was kind of cool, was the Dr. Animo episode where his watch is broken and he combines the characters.
Oh yeah, and it combines the worst ones.
Yeah, he combines Heat
He
Jaws
does
and
it.
fucking
Or
Heat Blast.
yeah.
Yeah,
Rip Jaws. Really dying every time he uses Heat Blast
Yeah.
power.
and so that's really I really can't think of like other scenarios where he shut up.
That episode did frustrate me because every time he used it, he was like, "I need water." There is water 5 feet in front. Jump in.
And then like I said, I put gray matter at 7 because, or fucking 8, yeah, because see, you got me doing it. I put gray matter at 8 because we can all agree gray matter's top 3 worst, right? Because we've all said gray matter at this point, yeah.
He's
I mean,
not.
he's good. He's a good alien, just not useful in a lot of
Yeah.
scenarios.
Because
We
we've all said
usually-
gray matter at this point, yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay.
usually just
He had him at 10.
Yeah.
his best
Or
scenario
9.
9.
Yeah.
Best scenarios are when he has prep time. He usually doesn't have prep time.
All right, we're moving on to number 7 now.
Wild Mud.
I also have Wild Mud at 7.
I have Ghost Freak.
Oh, not 7.
Wild Mud could see Ghost Freak, but that's about it.
Wild Mutt, in my opinion, Wild Mutt's cool. He's one of the cooler
All right,
aliens.
no. I misspoke again. I had Wild Mutt.
Yeah, Wild Mutt.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all agree Wild Mutt's 7.
Yeah, he's just a good
Well,
tracker.
Yeah.
Any of his strength and speed feats get outclassed by other
his
aliens.
his strength is decent. His speed is somewhat decent for what he is.
Yeah.
The
He's a
only
big dog.
the only thing that kept him lower for me was his win to loss record.
Hmm.
Because while like all his stats across the board are decent for what he is, he
Yeah.
also has it's debatable, but he has one of the best agility out of all the first 10 aliens due to all of his
Yeah.
stats been heightened and whatnot. But what kept him this low on the list for me was basically just his win and loss record,
Which is fair.
which is almost even.
Yeah.
At
Isn't
it's
his
at 4.
intelligence negged?
No.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
I-
he's more
Ben
peaceful
does
and-
become
so-
slightly stupider
when he
when he's
It's just slightly.
Yeah.
He's still above the normal wild mutt because it's been.
yeah, but he still is slightly dumber.
Well,
It'd be like if Ben turned into a dolphin. He'd be kind of dumber. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we all agree Wild Mutt's 7. I like Wild Mutt. I think he's really cool. But yeah, I just don't think he's useful enough. I think in the same way you are in a gray matter, you can't really use Wild Mutt in a scenario that's not in the same way that he performs at 10. Wild Mutt's not useful in a sense of anything other than punching. Like in a fight, yeah.
Tracking as well.
Yeah, tracking.
He's been, I think, even out of his more recent aliens, I think he's still one of Ben's best trackers.
Yeah. Which is fair, but at the same time,
Can he does his tongues have any uses for like grabbing
His
things?
tongue.
no.
No.
He's
that's-
just a really big
He's just
dog.
a big dog with no
Okay.
eyes. But yeah, and I love his design. I think his
Yeah,
design's really
his
cool.
design's cool.
If only he
He's
got
a-
an ultimate form, that would have
He
been
did.
great.
He did though.
If only he got an ultimate form,
Oh,
that would
yeah,
be
yeah,
amazing.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that never happened. Number 6.
Upgrade.
What do you have on me?
I'd upgrade.
I have accelerate.
What? That's stupid.
It's not bad.
Okay,
I wanna
okay,
hear, I want
okay.
to hear why.
Yeah.
I like the other characters more.
That's your he should be slapped. He could go from 500
Okay,
to Mach 2.
here's the thing, right? Because the way that I was listening it when I was going through, I literally have accelerate at number 6 because that's just where he got placed. Because all the other ones that I haven't listed, I like them more than accelerate.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only one that which would be my next one and accelerate could probably switch spots. But yeah, no upgrade. Why is upgrade so low? Or for you guys, upgrade's so useful.
He's only so I wouldn't say he's only useful when machinery is around. However, that is when he is most useful.
That's
Without machinery, Ben.
because
when it-
Ben's stupid. You can use upgrade on anything.
Yeah, but doesn't it
No,
also have more water weakness? And doesn't he have a
So
susceptible to water?
when it comes to that up that I remember upgrade can actually only be used if it's part like somewhat part of technology. Also for the
Is that
for
true?
anyone that may be watching out there, for apparently for Ben's specific upgrade, I don't know how it goes for the actual like race of them. He cannot turn into things without absorbing something first.
Yeah.
Because other ones can use like previous absorbed things again, while Ben can only use them.
Okay,
At
that's
least Ben has only used upgrade to
Well, is that
upgrade
again?
things.
Is that because Ben can't do it, or is he just freaking stupid?
That hasn't been said.
Because I can really see that Ben being, especially because when I think of upgrade, right? Upgrade also has that I beam that he never used.
I'm pretty sure he's only used it twice.
Yeah, like
And one
that's such a cool ability.
one time was on accident.
Yeah, because he was fighting the buzz shots.
Yeah, against Buzzshock, he accidentally used
Does
it. And I can't remember what the other time, but I'm pretty sure he's used it once.
doesn't upgrade have a water weakness?
No.
I don't know.
Or is it just he can control? No, is it
No,
when
'cause
he's
he's-
transformed? Is it something
No.
right? Because it still takes mechanical
Well,
properties.
it will buzz out whatever he's transformed to.
That's
He
what I'm
can just
talking
jump
about.
to a different thing.
Yeah, but when he's jumping to something else is his weak point. That's when his weakness is open,
No,
right?
it's not.
Somebody like he's transferring another object and they get smacked by
He
force.
can still punch the thing he's transformed.
Yeah,
That's fair.
Also, he's pretty much almost invincible though, isn't he? Like he can't really be like injured, and he's like blobby.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
take.
he's blobby, and he can. If Ben was smart, he would utilize the blobbiness more.
There's one caveat to that. I will say that what you're saying is accurate, but that only applies to the first series because after that they retcon weaknesses.
Which is a
'Cause
whole other
for
thing.
some reason they made him. Hey,
Yeah.
you get this electro device on him.
Yeah, that's dumb. And if Ben was smart, and then my thing is, if Ben was smart, he would use the blobbiness and like the fluidity of upgrade more to be more agile, which he doesn't do.
No, he does. He does a little bit.
He does a little bit,
And I
but
think
not
in
so
some
much.
cases, he's completely dodged it by just opening.
Yeah, exactly, which is cool, and I think that should be utilized more. I don't think it gets utilized as enough because a lot of times when they show upgrade in the original series, they kind of portray him as like this big giant robot essentially, and then every once in a while they're like, "Oh, but he's also fucking goop." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
They do dance around with it a lot.
yeah. But I'm very upset. Yeah, and like I said, as for Accelerate, I just think that I don't think he's bad. I could absolutely understand why people are upset at my placement for him. I just prefer these other ones more. So halfway through the list, number 5, this is where I have Ripjaw.
Ghost Freak.
Interesting.
I really like Ripjaws, but I couldn't put him any higher.
So did you put him this high simply because you like his design?
like the way he
who
looks.
is?
I like the character.
He says from worst to best.
But I couldn't.
No. Hold
I
on.
couldn't put him any higher. I could, like you said, like he doesn't get utilized often, so I couldn't justify putting him any higher. But I really like him, so I at least had to put him in the top 10.
Look,
But I will say, I would understand switching it and putting Ripjaws at 6 and then Accelerate at 5. I could do that if I changed my list. I could do that, and I would be happy.
out of your aliens minus not including forearms, all the ones you have listed right now, I have no problem with. Why? Because outside of Diamond Head, forearms, Heat Blast, and Accelerate, most of the aliens below those 4 don't really get utilized as much because those aren't Ben's favorite aliens at the time.
Wait, who do you have at number 5?
At number 5, I have Wildwood.
Okay.
What? Okay, while I don't 100% know what happened, my assumption is that Caleb simply misread his notes and meant to put Ghost Freak at 7, but instead said Wild Mutt both here and there. So he technically doesn't say Ghost Freak at all, but my assumption is that Ghost Freak was supposed to be 7.
Ghost Freak.
You have Ghost Freak. You already said Ghost Freak, yeah?
Yeah,
Because
was
when he can go incorporeal when he's invisible in that form, but once to attack, he has to become corporeal again.
No.
So, isn't that what he shows in the classic series? He has to become corporeal.
If he wants to physically attack,
Yeah, if he
That's
wants
what
to
I mean.
punch somebody, but he can still phase into
he
people
can phase into
and like
people.
possess people.
He can literally phase into someone, take their body over, and literally just throw their body up and down in the shit without feeling it himself.
Which is what he did to the Thumb.
Ghost Freak himself, the character that Ben, for some reason, only has his DNA from, does it a few times. I think Ben does it once when someone pisses him off. I think they harmed Grannon or something.
It was during the season 2 when they were fighting the Circus Freaks.
Oh yeah.
And it was when Ghost Freak was starting to possess Ben a lot more. He did it to, what is it, Thumbnail or Thumbtack?
Yeah, it was no, his name's Thumbnail. I think.
Thumbnail, yeah. He did it, and then Grandpa and Gwen were like, "Dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, what's going on with you?" Yeah, I remember that now.
And I understand why Ripjaws should not be this high on the list, but I'm going to say, fuck you, it's my list. Number 4. Okay. I have Diamond Head at number 4.
It's
I have
funny.
Diamond Head.
You prefer front hand or backhand?
Right.
How do you have a number 4?
Accelerate.
Okay, fair enough. So I've already given my thing for forearms, and I understand why people like him. He's utilized by, I think he's the most utilized in the
What
original
did you
series.
have it?
I had Diamond Head at number
Diamond?
4.
Okay.
Number 4. I had
Wait, who
Diamond
did you have?
Forearms. I think usually forearms, despite the fact that they just show people getting hit in the show, forearms shouldn't be able to hit accelerate, which is why I would
You could
switch
say a lot of things aren't able,
I
aren't
know,
supposed to be able to hit
I
accelerate.
know. I'm just saying, from my opinion, I don't think he should in most situations be able to touch accelerate.
Yeah, but there's also the thing where accelerate also can't damage a lot of things due to how weak he is.
Yeah, but
He's built for speed, and that's it.
at Mach 2 to 3,
It's his tail
at
is
Mach,
useful. That's
and,
the whole thing. His
Well,
tail is
yeah,
fucking
and
mostly muscle.
Ben does use his tail a few times.
but at Mach 2 to 3, there's still damage being done at that speed.
Oh
He's
yes,
not killing
but
forearms, but
a lot of the creatures on the high end of this list are tanks.
yeah, but I just couldn't switch the two because accelerate is pretty much ineffective against Diamond Hand and Heat Blast. But
Diamond Head, sure, he blasts. I'm not sure about.
I'd say because Heat Blast was more plasma like, so he's good at absorbing for like
That doesn't mean
kinetic
that
energy.
doesn't mean the fucking oxygen from his fire can't be sucked away.
Which
Okay.
has happened multiple
That's
times.
fair. That's fair. Well, that's all I got for forearms. You've already explained the fact that he's just tough.
Yeah.
I had accelerate this. Well, technically, it should be this high on the list, due to the fact that while he's not built for strength, his win-loss record. I'm pretty sure is actually pretty high at 6 wins. Six. These are counting major fights, not just randoms. At 6 wins, 2 losses.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure the 2 losses were against Vilgax and actually I can't remember the other one. The one was against powered up Vilgax,
Yeah.
in which he ran around Mount was it
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore, and just ran into Vilgax's leg or something, trying to hit him or something like
Yeah.
that. And then I think he tried to do it again, and then Vilgax punted his ass.
Yeah.
But overall, he's a pretty decent alien. His speed feats, at least in the classic, later on they're fine. But in the classic, they are very what's the word?
Inconsistent.
Very
Mm.
inconsistent. Because at one point he's running near in that baseball episode, he reaches
Yeah.
like near FTL.
Yeah.
And then in other ones he's only running 500, and in the other ones
The
he's
2
running
to
Mach.
I think
He's
that's the
running
big thing
yeah.
just with like speedsters in general is once you establish them at a certain speed, you then have to justify why they're not going that speed
Yeah,
all
and
the time.
yeah.
Which I think my reasoning, anytime anyone points that out, I always just think, do you run at your top speed all the time?
Well, no, I didn't.
And that's
Yeah.
just what I say. Like when people are like, "Why isn't the Flash going all fast all the time?" It's like, are you always gonna go that fast? Especially if you know, like, you don't have to.
Well, no, I'm not like downing him for that, because for one, it's still Ben.
Yeah,
So even if he can run fast, doesn't mean he always will, unless it's a dire situation.
yeah,
But it's just when it comes to his speed, sometimes he's able to blitz people that should be blitzed, and then other times,
yeah.
yeah, they might get a hit on him.
I wanna-
Though in cases like Vilgax, when he swung on him, he predicted where Ben would be, not where he
Where it
not
was, yeah.
not where he was. So in that case, it was good on Vilgax.
Yeah.
The reason accelerate wasn't higher for me because we couldn't use the Nair FTL feat because it wasn't consistent. He would be higher on the list because then there's more
Yeah.
damage inflicted at that speed, but can't because it's not consistent.
Even so, Ben still wouldn't be hitting people at near FTL.
He would have hit Vilgax in near
No, he
FTL.
wouldn't.
Why not?
Because as of right now, Ben doesn't kill people.
How do you know it would even hurt Vilgax?
That is true.
He doesn't know that. As far as he know, and from what we've seen, he did not shit to Vilgax. He's in.
Yes, but he also didn't do anything. He ran around a mountain and tried to hit Vilgax, which, by the way, he missed and then ran into his leg.
Yeah, and as for Diamond Head, I put Diamond Head at 4 simply because, as much as I love Diamond Head, and I do think he gets utilized more as Ben progresses, and we do see him using things like constructs and stuff early in the series, he doesn't use them as often. He tends to, like he does with forearms, just use Diamond Head for punching.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can make stuff with diamonds," which we see him make stuff with diamonds, very good, like very cool stuff.
I have a quick, but I'm
But
gonna save it for when I talk about him.
okay, but we do see he has
But I'm
diamonds for very cool
disagree
stuff.
with you on some of those things.
Yes.
But I don't think he used like I think like what's that one episode where he's like he tries to get accelerate and I can't remember which episode it was. He tries to get accelerate and he gets Diamond Head instead.
Yeah.
So he like uses
He's
like
talking, you're talking about the one where he made ramps?
yeah, like that stuff like that. Like that's cool. But then he doesn't do it ever again.
Not telling, of course.
Yeah, and so it's just like it's like you said with accelerate. It's so inconsistent. He could be higher, but he's just not. So top 3 aliens. You haven't subscribed yet. I can tell. I can tell. Top 3 aliens.
Accelerate.
No, you're going.
I have upgrade as my top 3.
Interesting. Heat blast.
Okay, fair.
We've already went over accelerate and upgrade. One
Yeah.
more heat blast.
Why is he
Well,
blessed?
I will give you that accelerate, upgrade, and heat blast. I would say are interchangeable. They all have the same win and loss record.
Mm.
That
And-
being 6-2.
Yeah, and I think for me, like I said, we already talked about it. I think if Ben wasn't a fucking dumbass, and I know he's a 10-year-old kid, he's still a dumbass. I think if he was smarter, he could utilize upgrade to an extent that is just so much cooler than what we see in classic
The
series.
same could be said for accelerate.
Yeah.
He could,
Not much.
if he aside, if he didn't take account into mortals in his fight with aliens, then his win to loss
It's
ratio would
almost
be
like
so
Ben
much.
is a superhero.
Okay,
But
okay,
yeah,
I'm
with
saying
upgrade,
You can say
you can do cool stuff with upgrade without having to murder people.
you could say that what your whole philosophy, you could put that against every single other of Ben's aliens. You're like, well, if he didn't take into account to murder, well, he has this power that could turn someone
Okay.
inside out.
well, you made this point with gray matter. What about accelerate species? Are they morally bound to like that standard, or are
Uh,
they straight up roam full speed?
I don't believe much is known about their species other than what we've seen of Ben.
'Cause I agree with your gray matter point. They're peaceful, so they wouldn't be just making weapons to take out every alien species. But I feel like if we
Peaceful, they just don't go
if
about
accelerate
full pay making
that
weapons.
isn't that like morally conscientious, then
Most of Ben's creatures don't entirely use their gifts, as you would call them, for murder. Most of them are literally just living their day-to-day business,
that's fair. Okay.
except for the few that we see that are having civil wars and whatnot.
All right, why is Heat Blast top 3?
I have Heat Blast top 3 based off of one specific feat when the Fountain of Youth episode.
Mm-hmm.
When
Oh, the supernova
yeah,
baby.
when Ben threw a tantrum, and for some reason Gwen guessed this correctly after never experiencing this type of feat from Ben ever. So I don't know how she came up with you make him mad, he might just have a super meltdown, turn into a supernova. I don't know why that correlates, but whatever. He Gwen pisses him off, and he literally makes a supernova.
Mhm.
And a small ass cave burns up the entire Fountain of Youth, which, by the way, I would have bottled some of that.
I know, right?
Just take a sip every once in a while. So, like, in theory, if Ben was to somehow, I guess, throw an adult tantrum,
Yeah.
who knows how hot that would be? Plus, the radius probably a lot bigger than like a
That-
cave system.
Plus, they live on a sun, I think.
He must is
I think it was made to be have like negative beyond whatever, and then have sun, which doesn't entirely make sense. But
he must is pretty mobile, right? Pretty
Yeah,
agile.
yeah.
if you
And
use
he's
it
pretty durable, and he doesn't have many weaknesses.
water. Granted, you have to consistently douse this with water.
Yeah.
Just splash him with water, he'll just relight the flame.
I thought that he went into the ocean and he
Yeah.
boiled the water around them, so he didn't
Yeah,
get wet.
because
yeah,
he is still hot.
Yes,
Fire is different than being hot.
it's what he said. But it's while he is able to use his powers underwater, it is way less effective than him being in the air.
It wasn't just outright. knock him out or anything like that. It just dampens his ability.
Yeah.
Sometimes it makes him cough, bend over, stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's kind of iffy.
He's I'm gonna say he's durable to kinetic energy at least, which is most of his,
That's not
if not
exactly
most of his
true,
plays,
but sure.
I guess.
You're taking into the plasma thing way too much.
Yeah.
All of Ben's aliens can be knocked out. Most of them have been.
Hmm.
I shouldn't say most of them. A lot of them have been.
Well, for my number 2, I have Heat Blast.
Heat blast as well.
Then you should wait. Who did you have at 3? Accelerate?
Yeah.
Oh, I have 4 arms.
Okay, fair enough. We already discussed forearms.
And
Why did you perform so high? Would be my question.
So one of the big factors if it's win to loss ratio
Hmm.
is second
Yeah.
highest. Also with being Ben's debatably second most used alien,
Hmm.
he does know him well. He also knows how to use him well.
Fair.
And throughout, while he did suck at fighting more agile creatures
Hmm.
as forearms throughout the classic series. I won't discuss later on because later on is later on.
Hmm.
But throughout the classic series, he does get slightly better. I wouldn't say he's the best at doing it while being forearms, but he has gotten a lot better.
Alright. I have Heat Blasted first. Oh, real quick, one other thing I want to say about forearms. I wish they would have kept him more animal-like. Because in the first episode, he's like really growly and like very
Uh,
aggressive. And then as the series goes on, he becomes more human-like.
well, the only reason for the voice change was they literally changed voice actors mid-series.
Fred Tatascore does him the whole series, no?
No, I'm pretty sure they changed the voice actor.
And as for me having Heat Blast as number 2, I mean, he's fucking Heat Blast. He's fucking cool as shit.
I think there's
And
more combat potential.
yeah, he's obviously he's utilized throughout the series. He's a very useful character. And I think the big thing that I think of, we know Ben sucks. Considering in the Gwen 10 episode, Ben even mentions, because Gwen does like the firework thing with Heat Blast, and
Yeah.
Ben's like, it took me like 3 months how to do that. And Gwen's like, yeah, you're a fucking dumbass. Like, like she doesn't say that, but like, that's pretty much what's implied.
She calls him a doofus or something.
Yeah.
I'm better than you.
Yeah, basically, like that's the idea. Like everything that Ben does in that episode, or like everything that Gwen does in the episode, is
Yeah,
because
they
Ben
go through
sucks.
a few different fights.
Yeah. So like obviously, Gwen shows that how little Ben actually utilizes his characters.
At least in the classics.
Yeah, and specifically in classic series, and so I think that Heat Blast, we see him do cool things like riding a comet. We see him absorbing heat. And he just
Well,
has a
twice.
he just has a cool fucking.
He did it twice.
Plus, he still did it. Again, Ben's a fucking dumbass. He could have done it more
A
than once.
pyro knight that can absorb heat.
Yeah.
Let me only do it like twice when there's like a
Like,
whole bunch of situations where I could do it.
and I'm pretty sure Heat Blast can fly, which Ben doesn't utilize ever.
It's
Because they do that with
it's
what is it?
debatable.
The guy, what is the
Well,
black guy from Alien
Yeah,
Force?
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
But Ben's like, no, I'm gonna use
while
a comet.
he no so Ben actually can't he knows how to fly. So he does know how to like just regularly fly with Heat Blast.
Yeah.
He likes using a comet
Because he did
because
it in the season 1 finale.
it gives you more control
Hmm.
over the flight.
Okay, fair
'Cause
enough.
with that, you can still fly nearly as fast as when you're just using yourself as a propellant, but it actually gives you a lot more control. with it.
Sounds to me like Ben's a fucking dumbass again.
Well, no, because that's the reason yes, it's an out of what we're talking about. But in Alien Force,
Mhm.
Alan, that's his name.
Uh-huh.
He teaches Alan how to do it because Alan mentions to Ben on how flying like that kind of sucks.
Interesting.
I was thinking about y'all said absorbing heat. I was like, wasn't there a multiple like fire scenarios where like a building was burning or something and he could have
Yeah,
absorbed the heat, put out
and
the
he
fire?
does it.
That was one of the times.
Like the sumo, like it's in the second episode, the sumo wrestling
Yeah,
episode,
and
because
he's
he's
at the very beginning.
yeah, and he's like a sumo wrestling card, and then
Yeah,
like
right after he got the kid out the building.
yeah, rather than saving the building. Ben's an idiot.
Well, no, he's put out the fire. The building just crumbled because, well, by the time Ben got there,
Yeah.
it's spread throughout most of the building.
All right, here we go. Our final one, number 1. You watching at home probably can figure out who our number 1 is because we've listed 1 through
Well,
fucking
if they
9.
take the time to pause.
I mean, if they just think about who we've said, I think they can figure it
We've all
out.
said different things.
But we were all pretty consistent, I think. I think this will be the only different one, right?
I think so. Well, not
Diamond.
only different.
You have Diamond Head.
Yeah, Diamond Head.
Okay.
I have Ghost Freak.
You're horrible.
I'm not.
You're
Okay, let's talk about
You're
Ghost Freak for a
horrible.
second.
You're
Ghost
horrible.
Freak is literally the classic series antagonist. He is the most important character in classic series. He is not just the antagonist of season 2, but he comes back for season 3.
Ish.
Ghost Freak is super important. Not only does he beat Zombozo, and we still have no idea what the fuck he showed him,
Zombozo isn't that hard.
but he did it in a cool way.
He scared him.
Want to see
But he
something
did it.
scary?
That's cool as
He just
shit.
showed him his tentacles.
It doesn't matter. It was cool. The design of Ghost Freak is cool, especially when
Wait, which one?
both. He's a fucking ghost with an eye that goes all around his body with the
yeah.
lines.
Well, that's more of an ectoplasmic.
And then you have regular, real Ghost Freak, who is an upside down skull with claws.
So the only part I have a problem against that is that is a literally one of his species design.
I don't
That
care.
is who Ghost Freak is himself.
I don't
The other ones look
care.
just like Ben did prior to Ghost Freak ripping off the skin.
Okay, well, he still looks cool, and again, he's useful. He can fly. He's basically Danny Phantom,
Yeah.
except
With,
he's
with
like,
a few more weaknesses.
No,
The-
the Phantom was pretty good.
yeah. And again, he can, because here's the thing, even as Ben, right? It's what's his name? Scar, whatever the fuck his name is. Main Ghost Freak, like real Ghost Freak. Yeah,
I forgot his name.
whatever the fuck his name is.
The
The
Scare?
print, yeah. So,
His name.
Scare?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
the
it is.
Scare.
Scare cannot be touched by
Or
Sun.
the Scare.
Whatever.
It changed
He
the-
cannot be touched by Sun. Ben can go out into the sun as Ghost Freak.
Yeah.
Ben is not prohibited by sunlight like Scare is, which means he is cooler and more powerful. So he has all the powers of Ghost Freak, and he can go out into the sun.
Yes.
And he's basically invincible at that point.
The only reason he's not so high on my list is because of his win and loss record with Ben.
It's because Ben's a fucking idiot.
Well, some of them aren't Ben's fault. Like the one where it was when he was facing that crab guy for the first time.
It was Ben's fault. Ben.
That
Oh
was
yeah,
not Ben's
no,
fault.
you're right. He had the device.
He
He had the
he went
device.
intangible, and then for some reason, Mr. Crab Guy just has some ecto whatever fluid. I was like, yeah, even though you're intangible,
Yeah.
I'll
that
still
ar-
grab you.
that orange
Yeah,
stuff.
now you can't go intangible anymore because
Right.
of this fluid.
Think about it: intangibility, invincibility, possession, scariness.
Not invincibility.
Possession only works depending on the creature.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure he couldn't possess a Robo Guy.
Yeah, he could have possessed the robot. Yeah.
Invincibility is only when he's intangible, and that's not necessarily true if they like the
If
crab
they-
guy.
if they-
If they have
if they-
like
if they do have something-
ectoplasm shit.
If they do have
So how many people are gonna have ectoplasmic goo?
yeah,
Come on now.
any of the alien robots.
Exactly. All right, and you guys have Diamond Head at #1.
general ability across the board is good.
So what I was mentioning before when you're going over is constructs. After the first Textrax episode,
Mm-hmm.
Ben actually does use constructs a lot more, not just
Mobility-wise,
often,
too.
often. Before that episode, yeah, he did like maybe every once in a while.
But that was still in like the beginning of season 1.
Well, yeah, but he also he actually does start using contracts more often. Advanced ones, not so much.
Yeah.
I will give you that one. But basic ones, yes.
Like a
As well as it is stated only once in the original series and a few more times later on. Diamond Head is Ben's most trained alien. Trained with alien.
That's fair. And I could see that because that beginning of the Tetrax episode is Ben training with Diamond Head.
Yes. Also, he has the highest win and loss record at 7-2.
Yeah, just general across the board. He's decently strong, really durable. His mobility's okay
Yeah,
without
Sonic.
his constructs, but with his constructs, didn't he make like a little hoverboard or something to zip around?
No, the hoverboard
The
was given to
hoverboard
him
is
in
just a
Tetrax.
Oh, he's never made like a little diamond platform and zipped
He
it?
has, but he's only done it like 3 times.
Okay, so that's not a consistent feat.
I mean, you can say it's consistent. Ben just doesn't use it.
Depends me.
So yeah, that's a mobility. That covers the mobility section. I don't even really know what his weaknesses are. I don't generally know about him. I
Uh,
don't know his weakness.
as of the classic series, he doesn't
Yeah, a
exactly have
classic series Ben doesn't really have any weaknesses in terms of Diamond Head,
Yeah.
unless somebody's strong enough to break. Because wasn't it somebody broke
Vilgax.
Vilgax? Yeah,
His
because he had the sharp things
bio
out.
shell armor, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah,
Ben struck it like was literally just and literally looked at his hands and they're like crumbles.
yeah.
But that was one of the strongest antagonists of the first series.
Yeah, that was also the
Debate
season 1
that
finale.
debatably with Ghost Freak, but yes,
So he's consistently good across the board, which
yeah.
is why he's number one
Well, until like, but yeah,
in this series. He's consistent overall.
because in Alien Force they start giving a lot of aliens stupid ass weaknesses.
Yeah.
And with that being said, that is our list. I obviously have the objectively better list, but also tell me what you think about these guys' list too. Make sure you guys like,
His
subscribe.
list stinks.
Yes,
No, no, no.
I concur.
No, no, no.
Yours ain't much better.
Ours was
Yeah,
generally the
yours
same.
two was pretty much the same list.
This is
It
not
was
true.
generally the same.
Like me and him had the first same like top half list, and then once we got to the bottom half, it was you two.
Okay, I disagree on this bottom half. Happy?
I disagree with both of your lists. Mine is
You did most of yours based on
Bro,
how much you liked
liked
them.
them. That's
Yes!
that's
I
being
had-
objective.
At least I had a more objective look.
I was very objective.
While some
with
of my
mine.
placements did go into how much I liked them, it wasn't all the placements.
The only one that I
Yeah,
have,
so
the only one that I really have that I like them, so I put them higher was Rip Joel's.
I mean, I like Gray Matter a lot, but I didn't put him in the spot that based off of how I liked him.
That sounds like you don't like him enough to debate.
Ooh, got you.
Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Let us know what else we should mass debate. Make sure what other lists we should come up with. We'll probably end up continuing this and doing other Ben 10 lists. But let us know if you have anything else. And as always, my name is Dion. No one said anything else. I'm the only one here. My name is Dion, but you can call me IsBe. And I'm out. It's in the middle when he's in the forest. It's still episode 1, but instead of hearing Heat Blast, he turns into fucking Ripjaws. They just find a fucking dead Ripjaw. Look, we didn't say anything inappropriate. We're gonna be mass debating. We're gonna be debating mass. I don't see what. Do you have a problem with? Is there something inappropriate about mass debating, sellers?
Yeah, is there anything?
You sure?
You sure about that?
It seemed
There's
like
nothing wrong
you
with
had
it.
an issue with us coming together as a group and masturbating with each other. I don't see what's so funny about us
I
as
honestly think
three straight men coming together and debating via mass.
Yes.